I have no words. We're only in November, and here in the Pacific Northwest, it stays cold until basically June. So we're gonna be eating the comfort food recipes for a long time. Okay, so today I'm sharing some old school casseroles that I grew up on. These are like back to the basics, good old family friendly recipes that are easy to make, and you don't need a lot of ingredients to put them together. Think like church potluck days. Remember when Wilma Bush would bring some kind of chicken bake and you had no idea what was in it, but it was friggin' delicious? Well, that's what these recipes are like, only you're gonna know what's in them because I'm gonna show you. I'm so glad you're here with me today. If we haven't met before, my name is Ange, welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. All right, so first up we have this beef nacho casserole. This is like one giant nacho in a pan. It is so delicious. So we'll start by browning some ground beef in a large skillet here. You can also do ground turkey or chicken, whatever your preference is. And we'll just cook the ground beef until it's no longer pink. And then I had to remove the excess grease, which I thought was interesting because this was lean ground beef and there was actually a lot of grease in here, but that's okay. So then we'll add a whole packet of low sodium taco seasoning. You can also do homemade taco seasoning, about 3 tablespoons. We'll just give it a stir and toast it. And then I'm not gonna add any water, just the taco seasoning. And then we'll throw in a 16-ounce container of salsa. And then I've got a can of black beans drained and rinsed. And then we'll add a 3/4 cup of full fat sour cream, and we'll give this a stir until it's nice and creamy. So now it's time to assemble this. I'm telling you, this is so fast and easy. So I have a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. I'm just gonna spread half of the meat mixture on the bottom of the pan. You don't even need to spray it. And then we'll add about a cup or so of cheese. I have some crushed tortilla chips here. I'm gonna add about a cup over the top of the cheese. You can also use Doritos or Fritos. Anything would really be good. Any kind of toasted tortilla chip. And then we'll add the rest of the beef mixture and just spread this out as evenly as possible. We'll add a little more cheese to the top, as much as you like, and then we'll top it with more crushed tortilla chips. And then this goes into the oven at 350. We'll bake this for about 25 minutes till basically it's hot and bubbly and the cheese is melted. So you can do this 2 ways. You can add the toppings right over the casserole and serve it that way, or you can serve the toppings on the side, which might be better if you have quite a few leftovers, then you don't have like soggy lettuce. But I just did some green onion, tomatoes, lettuce, and then you can just top it with sour cream, avocado. It is absolutely delicious. It tastes exactly like a nacho, only it's a casserole, and it's quick and easy and family friendly. It's also a great recipe to make ahead and freeze for another night. It smells so delicious. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, this right here, the flavors are just so perfect. It tastes like a nacho. It's just delicious. It reminds me so much of one of the recipes in my mom's book. It's called tostada casserole, and it's kind of the same idea. This just has a few different ingredients. Can't wait for you guys to try this one. Okay, so next up we have our chicken noodle casserole. This is another cozy and comforting dish that's super easy to make. And if you really want to make it easy, you can use a rotisserie chicken, or if you have some pre-cooked shredded chicken, it's perfect for this recipe. But I didn't have that, so I just sliced a couple of chicken breasts in half, and then I seasoned both sides with salt and pepper. And then we'll add about a tablespoon of olive oil to this large skillet here. This is actually an oven-safe skillet, but if you don't have one, then you can just transfer everything into a 9 by 13 inch baking dish. And then basically you just want to cook the chicken on both sides until it's golden brown and cooked through. And while that happens, I'm going to chop up my onion. I've got about 3/4 cup here, and then I'll just do 1 garlic clove for this recipe. I like to mince it pretty fine. All right, so next we're gonna get the rest of our veggies going. I've got a couple of sticks of celery here. I'm gonna chop this until it's pretty fine. Basically, I like it to be about the size of peas and carrots. That way each bite has a little bit of everything. So our chicken is done. I'm gonna remove it from the hot pan, and we'll just place it on this pie dish here and set it aside until we're ready to shred it and use it. And then we'll add another tablespoon of olive oil to the pan. We'll throw in our veggies and just saute them until they're nice and soft. While that happens, we can prepare our chicken. I just shred this. You can also dice it and cube it, however you like it. So I've got a 12-ounce package of frozen peas and carrots. You can use any kind of vegetable here. You can do green beans or whatever frozen veggies that you like. And then I have some seasonings here. We've got half a teaspoon of dried rosemary, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, a half a teaspoon of ground sage, and some salt and pepper. And next we'll add in a can of cream of chicken soup, We have 1 cup of sour cream and 1 cup of milk. You can also do half and half if you want this to be really rich. And then we'll throw in our shredded chicken along with 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. We'll just give this a stir until it's nice and creamy. And I don't think I mentioned this before, but you'll end up with about 3.5 cups of shredded chicken. So next we're gonna add in our cooked wide egg noodles. I have about 3.5 cups here. And we'll just stir this gently until it's all incorporated and the creamy sauce has kind of intertwined itself with all of the noodles. And then I'm just gonna top it with a little bit more cheese. And then I also have a panko crumb mixture here. We've got 1 cup of panko crumbs with 2 tablespoons of melted butter and 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And then all that's left to do is to bake this for 30 minutes at 375 until the top is golden brown and the edges are bubbling. This chicken noodle casserole was a major hit with my family, so I'm really excited to share it with you. I don't know about you guys, but I actually grew up on tuna noodle casserole, and I enjoyed that as a kid. So I know that any child would really enjoy this chicken noodle casserole. It has the same kind of vibes to it. Lots of noodles, chicken, it's creamy, cheese, just a few little vegetables, nothing scary. That was a really big bite. Oh my goodness. I love these flavors. It's like chicken noodle soup, only in a casserole form. It's just so cozy and simple. Okay, so this next casserole was my most requested meal when I was growing up, tater tot casserole. What's great about this recipe is the only chopping that needs to be done is this yellow onion here. So I have about 1/2 cup, and then I also have a can of French style green beans I'm gonna drain. I definitely like the French style green beans over the regular ones. And then I have 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. You can also do cream of chicken, but I just feel like the cream of mushroom is where it's at. So I have a hot skillet here. I'm gonna add some onion and ground beef, about 1 pound here, and we'll just cook the ground beef until it's no longer pink. If you have some excess grease, just make sure to use a paper towel or pour it into a cup, but you definitely want to get that out of there. So this is where basic tater tot casserole becomes the best tater tot casserole. I use a teaspoon of Worcestershire, and then we'll add that can of cream of mushroom soup. And then my other flavor booster here is I have 1/2 cup of prepared French onion dip. You can buy this at the grocery store or use a homemade version. I actually have one on my website, and I'll make sure to link that in the descriptions. This is such a game changer. It adds so much flavor. And then we added our green beans. I had a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, mix that all together, and then we'll just add this mixture to a 9 by 13 inch baking dish sprayed with nonstick cooking spray. Make sure that you spread it out nice and even, and then we'll top it with another cup of sharp cheddar cheese. And then it's time to add our frozen tater tots. I used almost a 32-ounce bag. I'll just place them evenly on top of the cheese and meat mixture until it's fully covered. And then we'll pop this in the oven at 375. We're gonna cook this about 45 minutes until the tater tots are nice and crispy and the inside is bubbling. This is a winner dinner every time. Do you ever make a recipe that like transforms you back to your childhood? Well, that is tater tot casserole for me. Every time I make it, it just brings me back to my mom's kitchen. This is a little bit different from what my mom used to make, but it is still just as delicious. I really have not met a kid who does not like tater tot casserole. So this is a great casserole to make if you have a family and picky eaters. It's just delicious. Like, who doesn't like tater tots? We're gonna give this a try. Let me grab my fork real quick. This was my most requested dinner when I was a kid growing up for my birthday. This was my birthday dinner. Tater tot casserole. Happy birthday to me. And that onion dip in here, oh my gosh, it just totally elevates the flavor and makes it even better. So good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed all of these awesome classic casseroles today. I'd love to hear some of the casseroles that you grew up. So comment below, let me know what your favorite go-to was and ones that maybe you're still enjoying today. And don't forget, if you want to see more recipes like this, make sure to subscribe. And as always, I hope that you feel inspired to try something new, and we will see you next time. This is not fitting on here. Well, if we haven't met before, my name is Ange, and so we are going old school casseroles today. We're going back to the basics, back to the bus. Church potluck days, you know, when Violet Norsworthy would bring a dish. Yes, she was a real person. Violet Norsworthy is a real person. Oh my gosh.